Damn, you don't get no fucking like long existing
I would,
customer discount. Like,
I would,
yo,
I would.
I get charging the new people 60,
Nah.
but damn, I've been here.
Yeah, I've been here for a couple years. Yeah, man.
Damn.
Yeah,
Y'all just gonna hike up the price on me. Damn. I can't get no type of discount. Damn.
the game is the game.
The game is the game.
So this is, of course, the Real Deal podcast, the Wire Remix. I'm here, as always, with one Robert Sapp as Happy Father's Day to everybody out there, to all the fathers.
Yeah. Happy Father's Day.
Without question. On a beautiful Sunday afternoon, as we were discussing my first haircut in 3.5 months and the increased tax that was on that haircut, to say the least. You know, I felt like one of the characters on The Wire, like getting taxed. We're here.
Top to red top.
Yeah, for
plus half. What? Damn.
Season 5, the price of brick just went up.
Yeah.
But we are here.
Hurts my soul.
Season 1, episode 13, titled Sentencing. This episode, of course, was directed by Tim Van Patten. Anybody know anything about Tim Van Patten? He is one of the best episodic television directors in the business. He's directed episodes on Game of Thrones. He's done Sopranos episodes. So when you see a Tim Van Patten episode,
Boardwalk Empire, he was
Boardwalk Empire, yes, absolutely. I don't know how I left that
after
out.
The Sopranos.
Yeah, yep. So he's done a number of things with HBO, of course, from the famous family of the Van Patten. Big time director, to say at least. His episodes normally are a lot of the heavy action episodes. So this actually wasn't a heavy action per se. But so normally his Boardwalk Empire, Sopranos episodes were some of these famous action scenes from those particular shows. So he does the episode. This episode was ranked 7th all time by Vulture. So 7th all time. This was the highest ranked first season episode all time in terms of where that magazine had the Wire episodes. The epigraph, of course, is all in the game, a traditional West Baltimore saying, which was, of course, repeated at the end of the episode by one Omar Little. You see this episode, and we'll get into the awards and things of that nature, but you know, as usual, they're right on the money as far as the title, sentencing. And, you know, we think about, it wasn't just sentencing, of course, for the criminals, but it was sentencing for many of our characters in terms of their actions, either going in either paying off in a good way for them or in a negative way for them. So there were a number of characters who had their own form of sentencing at the behest of the institutions and the drug, and as well as, of course, the drug business. Beginning the opening scene, we see Kima, Bunk, and Cole in the hospital. Kima has just woken up. They want her to identify both Weebay and Little Man. She's able to identify Little Man easily, but of course Weebay, she says she didn't see because it was dark. It was at night, and he didn't come as like Weebay. Little Man apparently came inside the car, or closer to the car than Weebay did. So she didn't see Weebay, and she refuses to identify Weebay as the second shooter, despite the fact that Bunk, you know, hits her with the heavy thumb or the heavy finger and points at Weebay. Of course, she knows who Weebay is, and she tells Bunk she knows who Weebay is, but she refuses to identify him and says, "I have it right here. Sometimes things got to play hard." Your thoughts on this opening scene?
The opening scene was a monster. It identifies a lot of what The Wire's about, but Kima I think like I had said like a couple episodes ago that her character was cemented when she was having that conversation, I think with McNulty. But this was actually a much more impactful conversation and really define like who she is as a character, and that the character that her character has. Um, she's not willing to compromise for any reason. Even and I think the reason why this was more impactful than the other one that I was talking about was this had implications for her.
Yeah.
So she's not willing to compromise even when the decision could impact her negatively. And that's moral. That's the definition of morality. That's how you know you have a moral person / a moral character, because she's willing to do what's right even when it can negatively impact her, or what she believes is right, which I think sets her apart from pretty much every character on The Wire. Which is yeah. So anyway, so I mean, all praises to Sonia Song on this intro, and this intro just kind of like defines what The Wire is about and completely cements King's character.
Yeah. Yeah. This was a decision that definitely, could have was going to impact her, to your point, but also in Kima and Bunk, you have probably the two characters who are not going to probably least likely to play any type of games as far as going past policing, as far as bending.
I don't know about Bunk, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, I put Kima's on her own level, but Bunk, I think Bunk is going to do.
Yeah,
Bunk is going to do. He's right a notch below her. He's a notch below her. But Bunk is only going to go so far.
Right.
Like even in that scene, Bunk is trying to put a criminal in jail. Like he is trying to put a criminal in jail. So it's not a selfish act. It is for the better. It is for the better part of doing something the right way, of doing something right.
Well, I think that's the point, right? Like, I mean, they're all trying to put criminals in jail. Like, that's not anything different than any other police out there. What she's, at least what I took away from sometimes it's got to play hard, is that no shortcuts, no easy way. You know, even in putting somebody who absolutely 100% deserves to go to jail for the rest of their lives or worse, absolutely, but still, she's not going to compromise her character for that.
No.
But I hear your point. Bunk is. I think the thing we love about Bunk, or I'll at least speak for myself, the thing I love about Bunk is just that he's a regular person. Like, all of us are not perfect by any stretch of imagination and make tons of mistakes. I mean, we say that all the time, but all of us have questionable morality depending upon what the circumstance is, and can justify our ways into a variety of different situations. And that doesn't make Bunk a bad person; it just makes him human, a human character, which can be hard to find sometimes in television. So I think, like, in terms of the mistakes Bunks makes the most relatable mistakes.
Yes.
What Kima did is much harder for us to comprehend. It's ideal. We would love to strive towards something like that, but it's much, much more difficult to execute in your own personal life, because there's no glory in that. There's no feel good in that. It's just doing something that you feel is right, even when the outcome is probably going to be pretty shitty. There's no glory in that. Bunk does like solving cases and likes the glory that goes along with that. But again, he's a human. He's very human. He's just very, very human, which I appreciate about him.
Yeah. Overall, these are two characters that both have. These are two characters that, for the most part, play it straight. Um, Hurt, Carver are arresting Barksdale soldiers. You see, including Ronnie Moe. You see the Barksdale Empire crumbling from within, not from, yeah, basically from in terms of their soldiers and what have you inside there. So the arrests are coming from the pit. Herc is on the phone with letting I think letting Daniels or letting somebody back at the detail know who's going, who's he's arresting, who he has. Again, I mentioned Ronnie Moe was one of the people that he took in, and you see that going on, and at the same time, the detail, you have Freeman, McNulty, and Daniels and Prez in the detail. They are discussing the next steps of the case. Freeman, McNulty suggested that they take the case federal without, of course, and this is classic McNulty, without, of course, letting anybody above them know that they're going to go federal with it, because at this point, the case is supposed to be wrapped up at this point. So the case is supposed to be wrapped up. There's no way that they should be making an attempt to take this case federal. So at the end of the scene, before they get the call about D'Angelo Barksdale, you see Daniel say, McNulty, you're a piece of work. As again, McNulty being typical McNulty,
McNulty
being McNulty,
Yep.
wants to take the case federal and suggests that they take the case federal without letting the powers that be know about it. Again, and they get the call, of course, about D'Angelo Barksdale, who has cut ties at this point with Levy as a public defender, and the fact that he's in North Jersey. What are your thoughts on this scene?
Yeah, I mean, I think primarily we're supposed to get the McNulty being McNulty, and how the legs of the case are pushing people to get into that kind of like in that mindset. Is setting us up for something that's going to happen in the episode, but this is a setup for that.
Yes. This scene had it was multiple setups with this particular scene in terms of what's going to happen, transpire in the episode in regards to not only D'Angelo Barksdale, but of course in regards to the fate of of McNulty.
Yeah, I mean, like I remember when I watched this for the first time, and we were just used to TV at that time. So in my head, I'm like, ooh, everybody's going down. They're going to get them all. Like all this is going to work out the best for the cops, right? So that's what I mean by the setup. I'll elaborate, of course, more when we get to it in there. But your expectation as a viewer is that everything is going to work out for the cops. And this is feeding into that expectation.
Yeah. So you have Avon Stringer, and Levy. They're in the parking lot garage. Avon's just gotten out for now. And Levy's advising them to bail out a lot of people that got locked up. Avon is kind of reluctant to show that type of money, but Levy says, if you don't, you risk making enemies out of them. Stringer's on board too in terms of bailing out the people's out of getting those people's out of jail that have been locked up. So they agree on that. Then you also have them discussing their next moves in terms of the direction of the organization. Levy presses presses Avon about D'Angelo and where his head is at, and of course Avon is going to defend D'Angelo, say, hey, his family, he'll be all right, he'll be fine, he's family. So they're discussing they are discussing their next moves in regards to where the organization is going to go, and also about, and we saw last episode about them moving out of their office and moving into another spot. Levy Stringer says, you know, no talk on. They basically were discussing. Avon was telling Levy that we didn't talk on the phone. They were able to deduce that it was a wiretap, that was way too many people getting arrested for just one informant or one snitch, and so Levy's made out. Levy has kind of figured out that was a wiretap, and Stringer, of course, is concerned that Stringer is of course concerned about the office, saying we was talking all kinds of shit up in that office, Avon's office in the club. So again, this is a scene more about what is the next steps for the Barksdale organization for them moving forward. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like when I was watching the scene, I think like I was impressed by like the strategy session. Like I remember it like in past viewings, but I paid more attention to it this time. Um, I'm not exactly sure why. I just really appreciated how they were breaking everything, down. And once the police had kind of like made all of their moves, then they were able to then assess where everything was out. And even without, all the information that us as the viewers have, they can start putting pieces together. Which I think that's the part that I really appreciated. Just kind of like watching them without the knowledge that we have, be able to kind of like put together what was going on in terms of cost, and then what are the next best moves. I mean, I think the thing that I love the most about like things like this is like I am a organized crime connoisseur. Like I love this shit. I love reading about it. I love studying it, the history of it, and everything like that. And so the strategy that Levy outlines in order to lessen the impact on the top guy is a strategy that's been tested out over a period of time.
Yes.
With a lot of different criminal organizations. So this I will have more to say on this when we get to that interaction between the cops and the FBI or whoever it was, Homeland Security. But it's another way in which this show, in terms of just going about a normal course, shows the criminal intelligence of all types of people, for lack of a better way of saying that. So yeah, I appreciated that.
Yeah, I mean, again, we knew this going in to this episode, and we've seen it over the course of the season, in particular the last handful of episodes, of how vital Levy is to the organization. Like he is, he's a major player within their organization, and they trust him. Like they absolutely follow some, like when he was making suggestions to take out who to take out in the episode that Wallace was killed. Well, last episode that was, it was last episode where Wallace was killed. He was saying, "Hey, this person needs to go. You need to, it was time to, to make moves in terms of that, cutting ties with anything that can connect you, that can do harm to you." So he is as cutthroat as them when it comes to this. He just happens to have a law degree. But again, this continues to show how vital he is to their, to their organization, and how much respect they have for his line of expertise beyond just being a lawyer. Bunk, McNulty, all are in the office. They're about to go to Jersey with Perlman to see D'Angelo. They're discussing Kima. Before that, though, and you have Bunk basically, giving McNulty an earful for not going to see Kima. Yeah, the Kimmy's been in the hospital this entire time. He has yet to go. He has yet to visit her up until this point, and he promises Bump as soon as when they get back from Jersey that he will go see her. Quick scene, but what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, this is the setup for McNulty and Kima scene.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Um, Avon, Stringer, Brianna, Barksdale. Of course, she was introduced last episode for the first time. D'Angelo's mother. They are in the funeral home, which is going to be their new location. Very careful about speaking inside of the funeral home. Stringer checks Avon about speaking. Brianna, then both of them check Brianna about speaking indoors. So they've changed that up as far as how they're going to go about doing business. When they get outside, they really don't start discussing business until they get outside. And then they basically say, this is going to be the headquarters moving forward to take the count. In terms of taking the count, Stringer and Brianna both encourage Avon to kind of take a step back, despite the fact that he just got released. He's to back off a little bit to be, more some low profile until things kind of, until things kind of smooth out. Stringer is going to, be dealing with the product, and Brianna is going to be dealing with the money. And then she mentions that she challenges Avon, basically saying that you're going to make up for what you did to D'Angelo, as Avon admits to the fact that, apologize to D'Angelo, or through her, saying that, I know I'm telling him I'm sorry for putting him out there, and I'll make it up to him. And that's when she says most deaf, which is a phrase that we have seen D'Angelo use over the course of this season. And you have, Stringer saying, I will take care of the product. And then Avon basically saying he wants the smoker, he wants to tell Roberto, which is his drug connect from New York, that he wants to be a strong product coming back. Because at this point, you have to understand that they haven't lost control of the towers, but they are at a crossroads in terms of their control of the streets, and including the towers. They don't have a product right now, so they are, they're barely holding on at this point. So Avon again tells Stringer that, tell him to get to the drug connect, that he wants a strong product so that they can maintain those towers and maintain the reputation as a preeminent drug organization. What were your thoughts?
I mean, I have more thoughts, honestly, listening to you talk than I had during the actual scene. So I'll just go, like, the actual scene was good because the woman who played Brianna was very, very good.
Yeah.
So the scene is good. She executes it well in terms of being a viable second member of the crew that allows the plan to work, to kind of like not work itself out, but to be something that Avon can actually hear. I think it is. I think at another point in time, I think there's a lot to go in on Stringer way before we get to anything else, because Stringer's motivations are huge here, and it plays differently depending upon what you feel like his motivations are. And to be honest with you, like, that's just a thought process that I go down, but I haven't like really flushed it out. And so I say that to say, the way that I took what Stringer's motivations were here is that this is the next step in his power play. And a big part of the power play is that he needs Avon viable, because Avon's name is what carries weight. Not Stringer's name. Avon's name is what carries weight. So he needs Avon to be viable in terms of be a name, but Uh, there's nothing wrong with Avon taking a timeout in terms of all the different things. And so the main thing that gets to Avon or the messaging is we got to protect you. But is it really protecting him or is it strengthening Stringer's power base? That's my wondering.
Yeah, it's a good one. I've been thinking about like your theory about the Stringer wanting uh, that top spot. Um, I don't all the way agree with it, but I can see where you're coming from with it. Um, the one thing about it, even thinking way ahead
I
to
was going to say, what I was going to absolutely admit is I'm not just taking in the data from this season. I will
yeah,
1000%
yeah.
admit that. So yeah, so I 1000. I hear you. I hear you.
Even thinking way ahead, I don't think that I think that I don't think that he wanted that complete number one spot, but I do. There is something to him wanting a bigger role, if that's possible, because he's Avon's number two, but wanting
Right.
a bigger.
There's only one more role, homie.
There is only one more role. No, I understand that.
If you're the number two and you want a bigger role, there's only one more.
There's only one more role, but yeah, man.
Yep.
I think, yeah, I think that the reason why the reason why I didn't buy into it all the way. I buy into it some of it. You almost have me about you got me. You're almost convincing me. But the reason why I didn't all the way buy into it because if I'm Avon, right? Okay, I can go without Savino. I don't like D'Angelo anyway.
Nah, if you're Avon, you love D'Angelo.
No. I'm talking I'm talking Stringer. No, Stringer.
Okay, because you
I'm
said
talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Stringer.
Okay, got it.
I don't fuck with D'Angelo anyway.
Right.
Savino, I can sacrifice him. He's going to jail. Um, Bodie's my dude. But ideally, if I wanted to be the number one, I would have wanted uh Weebay as my number two. And his actions sacrificed Weebay. So that's my pushback to him in that spot because I gotta have something moving forward if I'm gonna be number one. Like you're not going. It's like I'm not gonna coach this version of Golden State that we saw this year. So you gotta give me some all stars somewhere. I can't. I'm not coaching a bunch of G League players and
like, Carroll did it, but here's the point. Here's the point. Here's my ask of you. I can go into this. Do you want to go into this now, or do you want to just keep on plugging through the episode? I can go in. I got a lot.
Let's go through the episode.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So yeah, you had them discussing.
That's what I say. That's why I said originally, like an episode on Stringer, I could do 2 hours just talking about it.
It's a lot.
Without breaking the sweat.
It's a lot on Stringer. Getting back to D'Angelo's mother, again, similar to Levy, we just see how much we see her role as being a major part of this organization as well. Like if you're controlling the money or you're dealing with the money, then you're a big part of what they're doing. So, and they kind of gave us some breadcrumbs on that last episode when she said when we didn't even know her role, but when she mentioned in that discussion with Avon, why don't you ever heard of a trap car? So I was like, so it's not just, even though you agreed that was an emotional mother looking out for a child, but there was still some strategy to what she said in her retort to Avon. Yeah. So we find out this episode she's in the game too, and she that will be completely fleshed out by the end of this episode in terms of how far she's in the game. in terms of how when she just talks to D'Angelo. So she, yeah, she's a big is a very interesting dynamic between those three, which will certainly there'll be more to come with in terms of that. Yeah, D'Angelo, his new lawyer, Bunk McNulty Perlman. Um, his new lawyer was a public defender, by the way. So they're discussing obviously the case. They want D'Angelo to completely, of course, to flip, and they recognize that the fact that D'Angelo has, up until fired Levy, they feel like that they have an opening to come at him in regards to, they seem like, okay, it might be there's some he's not happy, and and of course they're right. Yeah, they showed D'Angelo a number of pictures of the victims, Orlando, of course Wallace, the security guard, Avon's girlfriend, or his girl that was going to snitch on him. So they show all those pictures. The public defender, of course, is horrified. She's like, she's completely taken back by the amount of violence and some of the deeds that the Barksdells have done. And basically, D'Angelo is discussing, his family history. Like, this is what we do. I grew up in this shit. My grandfather was Butch Stanford, which by the way is Avon Barksdale's father. So he wants to be out. He wants out of the game. And there was a point at that point he is completely willing to just tear down the whole organization. He's tear down the whole organization in order to be free. And they get a lot out of him in regards to he gives them Weebay. They discuss the murder in terms of the Deidre Crescent, in terms of how he was set up by them. He didn't know that they were going to kill her. Very a lot going on in the scene. Larry Gilliard, who plays D'Angelo Barksdale, was spectacular in this scene, as he has been all season long with his performance. What were your thoughts?
I'm going to say the majority of my thoughts, because I'm going to tie this scene and another one together until the end. But what I will say is I 100% concur with you. Excellent scene. Excellent job by D'Angelo. Or Gilliard.
D'Angelo. And he says, what did he say? I have the quote right here. He says, when I was courtside for 8 months, I was freer in jail than I ever was on the outside.
The line I love, and I mean, you got to give it up to the writers and everybody else, of course. The line that I loved in this, to piggyback off of that, was when he was like, we've been in this so long, I can't breathe. I feel like I can't breathe. Yeah. So I mean, it's everything. It's premonition. It's everything. It's fucking everything.
Yeah, no, it's a tremendous scene. Next, we have Daniels and his wife with Marla. They're discussing the case, and through that conversation, she realizes that he is not going to play ball moving forward, and she realizes at that point that he has basically crossed Burrell. And when that revelation comes about, the look on her face was priceless, because that was a look of, you just fucked up. Like, your political career. That was a look of your political career for right now, for the immediate future, it's a wrap. So that was that look as he's discussing the case with her. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll be real quick on it. I mean, like, they're obviously going in two different directions. She's very much a politician and thinking like a politician. And like I said, he made his mission statement last week, where he was going to play it by the book. just 100% and damn everything else and damn everybody else. So he made his kind of statement that he was no longer going to play politics. He was going to work the case how he saw working the case. And she's the politician. So that look, you're absolutely right about it. That also says this is a wrap. This is a wrap. We're not even remotely thinking on the same page about things.
Yeah, so to your point, this foreshadowed their split. This
This isn't like, they're literally sleeping in different beds. He sleeps on a bench when so there is not really a functioning relationship, but if there was a nail in the coffin, this was the nail in the coffin.
No question. McNulty and Perlman, so they have just gotten out of of course, the interrogation or the conversation with D'Angelo. They're in the parking lot garage, and Perlman, of course, is just she's in heaven right now in terms of
case.
Is a career case.
Yep.
The stories, everything with D'Angelo, everything with the family and all that. She's it's a career case. Yeah. It's a career case, and she just leads her to having sex with McNulty in the parking lot garage. But by the way, it had nothing to do with McNulty. It was about the case. It had nothing to do with her wanting him again. It was just the case. She was just excited about the case and basically turned on by the case. She was having sex with the case as much as she was having sex with McNulty. If that makes sense. Go ahead.
No, I don't got anything to add. Yep. Speaks for itself.
Yeah. Before, I guess, one last thing about that. Before they were about to have sex with McNulty, which is something rare. We rarely see this. Or I can't remember. Was about to apologize. So, but before that, even before he can get the words out of his mouth, they start having sex. So that's that last part of that. Freeman Bunk and one of Freeman's old partners from the pawn shop, Roy Brown, who was working for a phone company, they go to him wanting a trap and trace to get a line on Weebay's address. Of course, we know Weebay's in Philly. D'Angelo dropped him off there. At first, the guy said that it was going to take a couple of weeks and, a lot of paperwork, red tape, the normal stuff, things of that nature for something like that to happen. But then, of course, Freeman tells him that this is the guy who was responsible for shooting the cop and coming from one current cop to an ex-cop. The guy completely changes his mind, of course, and they get the information. They end up getting the information on Weebay. Your thoughts on this scene?
It's definitely more set up for it's having our expectations be that they're going to get Weebay, and that will be another big piece of information that D'Angelo has given them.
Yes.
It's all setting up for something. This is all setting up for what we're going to get at the end. So yeah.
Yeah. McNulty, Agent Fitz, discussed the Barksdale case, and of course, McNulty wants to go federal with this case. So his whole objective is trying to set up a meeting with the feds for the case to go federal. He convinces Fitz, who gave him the information on Daniels earlier in the season, that Daniels was crooked, was dirty. He convinces Fitz that Daniels is, playing it straight, or that Daniels has been not playing it straight, but has been committed to this case, that you'll have no problems with him. And Fitz decides he convinces Fitz to set up the meeting with the feds, which we'll see play out. Any thoughts on this scene?
I'll pair it with when we get to the feds.
Okay. Yeah, it was a setup for scene. It was a setup
Yep.
for that anyway. So you have Stringer and the drug carrier who brings a temporary package from New York, and Roberto from New York. So Stringer, this transpires in the print shop. The guy walks in, suit and tie.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do this. I can't hold back on this. So go ahead.
All right.
We're gonna have to do this.
So the guy walks in. Now, yeah. So the guy walks in with
break down the scene.
A temporary package. Now, and I'll ask you. I'll discuss this with you.
You break down the scene, and then you can respond to what I say after that. But
so the guy walks in.
I was having very specific thoughts as the scene was going on.
I just had a couple of thoughts that just
break it down. Just break it down, and then we'll talk about it.
So the guy walks in with the drugs. This is a temporary package in order to get the towers back up. We discussed that earlier, where they stood at in regards to not having a product out there. Stringer talks to the guy. Did you have any problems? If the guy says no, everything was copacetic. And in this course, is in the print shop. The guy walks out. Stringer then gives the orders, saying that it's not street ready yet, but still put it out there. Where he was giving some specific orders in terms of how to mix chemicals and what have you, and make it and put it out there. He said, put it out there that we're back up. Now, initially, I thought that this was Roberto, but then when I was like, no, this was all Stringer. This was not Roberto. This was not the drug connect, Avon's drug connect from New York. This is somebody that Stringer.
I have an or. I think I agree with you, but also I have an or.
This is somebody who Stringer has somehow connected to, or somehow gotten paid off just to hold off, just to maintain the towers for however long until they get, a major connector, what have you. But and again, initially I thought it was somebody from Roberto, but no, this was not that. Knowing what I know about the Roberto character, this was not that. It wouldn't even make sense. Go ahead.
So, just because we don't know enough about the Roberto character, I can't eliminate that this guy wasn't a person for Roberto. But that's neither here nor there, because we're both in the same space. Remember what Avon said to Stringer. He said, the next package I want is a what?
Smoker.
You said it. Yeah.
Smoker.
Yeah. Was that a smoker that Stringer was bringing in?
No.
Nope. Not even close to being a smoker. And not even on top of that, Stringer gave specific instructions of how he wanted it cut. So you got a guy, potentially not even Roberto's guy, coming into Stringer Bell's place of business. That's his place of business. That got nothing to do with Avon. Coming to his place of business, dropping off his package, which he's going to give specific instructions of how to cut so that they can announce that the towers are back open under his complete and total management. Yep. That is how he wants the drug game to run it at that time. It will expand, and we'll talk about that ad nauseum in later episodes. It will expand, but that's how he run right now. And so that's the fundamental basis of my argument for why I think Stringer wants the top spot, because I don't think he likes the way Avon approaches the drug game anymore. And that's why I said I use a bunch of course, history that is coming up in that statement. But here's a very concrete example of that. Avon was very, very clear. He said, I want those fiends falling out. That's how they're going to know our name is back, because we got the best shit. Stringer didn't give a fuck about any of that. Did he go to Roberto? Maybe. And maybe that was Roberto's guy, but he definitely didn't go with the message that Avon said. Because when Avon, the way that they used Smoker before was when they were describing Joe's package, which is obviously the shit. So smoker equals the shit, right?
Right.
And so obviously, if he's cutting it up like that, if it comes in a certain time, anyways, blah blah, blah yada yada yada.
If
That
it's
the
to your
point
point,
is,
if it's a
yeah,
smoker, it doesn't have to be cut up. And
right. It's
that
not a
doesn't,
smoke. I mean, it does,
doesn't
but it none of that. We're not
yeah,
even going to get into
street
all of that.
street ready.
Right,
I mean,
right,
yeah,
exactly. That's what his point. Street ready, blah blah. Doesn't even matter. The point being that Stringer is now starting to operate differently from Avon, and I think this is what he's wanting, and that's why I think he wants the #1 spot.
yeah. I mean, this was a blatant. This had, like I said, this was all Stringer.
Yep.
This move right here. You go back to the move he made with Orlando in the $30,000 in cash. That was him. That was all him. Like Avon reprimanded him for that, but that was still all him in terms of making that move. And then you combine that to your point earlier in the season about the business classes that Stringer was taking. So to your point, in your defense, you can make a case that Stringer was starting as he's taking those classes, was starting to concoct his own philosophy in terms of how he wanted the structure or the business of the Barksdale organization to run.
Most definitely.
Absolutely make that case. Now we'll see what transpires, because I definitely have some stuff in terms of season 2, in terms of season 2 in regards to this. But I definitely see this episode definitely strengthens your case in regards to Stringer moving separately from Avon, but still needing that name, that Barksdale name, to maintain.
Here's what's cool about shows like this, right? Like, there's not one specific right answer
No, 2 things can be
because
true, or 3 things can be true.
they do a very good job of making well-rounded characters.
Right.
That, as like I said, humans, we are just contradictions all the time. That's just what we do all the time. We contradict ourselves. And so your characters need to reflect that. And The Wire does a great job of reflecting that, particularly based off the world that they're trying to build. Here, you're not going to have a lot of Kimas, for lack of a better circumstance. And Kima's not an angel by any stretch of imagination, but in terms of her clear morality, in terms of what is right and wrong in the world of drugs and crime, her stays above everybody else. But in terms of like the subject matter, you're going to be dealing with a lot of people that naturally have a lot of contradictions. And so what we thought about Stringer when this was originally going on, or a couple years ago, or even what I'm noticing, and of course this comes with age and experience of just knowing how shows are created and cultivated and produced and written and acted over a period of time, is that what happens in the pilot is very different than what happens 5 years later, and your character grows a tremendous amount in that. And over years, and after a series has grown, our knowledge of the characters can continue to grow. And then, so what's very cool is to come in to a show like this with all of that knowledge to find new things you didn't recognize at the time. I'm sure what we're analyzing, thinking about now, that was part of the conversation then. We're just there was so much they gave us. We are just now coming to that part of it. And that's what's really cool about shows like this. And that's what also makes The Wire one of the greatest shows, is that you can keep coming back to it and keep finding something new in there, because it's so rich and so deep and so full of so much.
Yeah, no question about it. Because original, and I've watched this thing multiple times. To like yourself, this is something that you just something that I wouldn't have, just didn't see over multiple views of it. So you have McNulty, Daniels, McNulty and Daniels with the feds. They're discussing the Barstow case. The feds have an interest that goes beyond the Barstows. Like if they want criminals, they want cartels or mafia.
But yeah, here, time out for a second, because let's break this down, because McNulty's all the way in the wrong per usual. And it wasn't. I mean, his reaction is all the way.
No, hold on. This is one of two meetings. This is the first meeting, so don't jump ahead to the second.
Okay,
meeting.
Which one is this one? You're right.
This is the second meeting is is mentioning Clay Davis. This is the first. This one they're just talking about. They're basically saying that the Barksdales are not big enough.
Okay, all right. So no. This goes into the timeout. So So I'll say more about McNulty in that second meeting.
Yes.
But the concept is dead wrong. That we can take this case federal and we will get the exact prosecution I want for my two targets.
Right.
That's what McNulty wants.
He was off. Yes.
He doesn't want to take this case federal because of all the federal things that can sprout out of it. He wants Stringer and Avon nailed to a wall, period. And so what he's hearing from them is, and what the entire crew is hearing from them, is what the feds can actually bring to the table and who their actual stated targets are. Police jurisdiction and what they're going after is, of course, very, very different from what the government is going after. And there's a larger statement that the show is making, which I'll wait to the very end of it. But everything that they're saying, and also remember, this is what's a big, huge memory for anybody who wasn't around. This is a post 9/11 world. This is happening in the direct aftermath of 9/11, where everybody's focus switched nationally, because that's where the policies were going, towards terrorism and people who look like terrorists. And so they're actually making a very reasonable and well articulated argument about what their methodology and what their targets are. The problem is the Baltimore Police Department doesn't want to hear any of that, because all they care about is their targets. And that's
the bottom line is institutions don't serve individuals; they serve themselves. So they're like that. McNulty. Like you said, McNulty. He would have another moment. So this wasn't even.
And not even concentrated on McNulty. I just wanted, if you remember the direct aftermath after 9/11, everybody's mentality switched. It just switched towards terrorism.
Yes.
And so while I hear him, and there, like I said, a larger art. Wait, no, I'm blending the two. Anyways, keep going.
So after this, you have Bodie and Prue. Bodie and Prue are fighting with local crews who are attempting to sell inside within the terrorist, the pit. This is an independent crew that's trying to sell their drugs. Bodie, of course, is not having it. Gets a couple guys with some bats along with Prue and chases them off. Again, we mentioned this earlier that the Barksdales were on shaky ground because they don't have a product. So they don't have a product to sell. So, and they have the best territory in the city. So, somebody on independence or some rival crews are going to feel like, it's like they're going to be like sharks with seeing blood in the water. Again, this shows you about this. I thought this scene spoke more about the direction of Bodie even more than anything else. What were your thoughts?
I 100% agree with the assessment of the Barksdale situation. And I think this definitely does a lot to announce that you're smart to keep your eye on Bodie. The Bodhi that you're talking about is not the Bodhi we're looking at this point in time. But you're smart to keep pointing it out.
Yeah.
Because he's the best of the rest right now. And that's what we're seeing. The guys that have continued to get camera time on the Barksdale side after all the muscle has gone down are next up. And they make a point of that. And you're pointing that out as well.
Yeah.
The show makes a point of showing that.
Yeah, it will pay off later on in the episode as well.
Yeah.
With those two characters.
Yeah. But as we know, next up is not a good thing at all.
No. Yeah, no.
And that's the overall. Anyway,
yeah. I almost left this part out.
That's so much to say.
I almost left this part out. So Carver is watching this, and Carver and Herc are in the car. They're basically watching this from afar. Not from afar, but close enough. Carver says, they fuck up, they get beat. We fuck up, they give us pensions. So that's how that scene wrapped up.
Yeah, he starts it off by saying, and see, this is why we can't win.
This is why we can't. What do you say? This is why we can't.
This is why we can't win.
Okay, this is why we can't win, right? Yep.
Or this is why we won't win.
Yeah. So now you're moving on back to the hospital. We have McNulty finally coming up to visit Kima. It's McNulty, Kima, and Cheryl. As soon as McNulty and Kima start discussing police business, Cheryl immediately leaves the room and says, fuck both of y'all. Kima tells McNulty she wants her to quit police work altogether, says it's not worth it. And then she asked, well, before that, Kima gets on McNulty about not visiting her. Well, maybe no. All right, that was afterwards. So Kima asked McNulty, what do you think? And McNulty says, she basically says that she's right. And then Kima gets on McNulty about not visiting her sooner. No card, calls, flowers, nothing like that. Then McNulty gets into his guilt. Basically saying that it's always, a black cop like yourself or Signer or Carver, somebody like that goes undercover. So he feeling guilty from that standpoint. And she basically makes fun of him for tearing up tearing up in the room. And I thought she had a great line in this, and this tells you about her character. She says, Lord, if I could take back anything. He says, if I could take it back, I would take it all back. She says, you know what I would change? I would change, taping the gun closer, putting more tape on the gun so the gun wouldn't slid back in the car seat when she was in Orlando's car. So just show you, where she's at. And, again, we spoke earlier about Kima and the type of, she's a cop. She's a police through and through. And she loves being a police officer through and through, no matter what the cost of that. So what were your thoughts on this scene?
This is a great scene. It's a great scene.
And it's acting all around.
Yeah. So yes to everything that you're saying, and then I'm going to add on. I think even more so, I think in that moment, Kima was taking care of McNulty, which then goes to another level, right? Of just like the type of character that she is and the person that she is. Here she is laying up shot in the bed, all types of jacked up. And she's caring about McNulty's emotional state. And then uses that to get the money to Bubs, right? Like that's a lot. That's a lot of goodwill. That is a tremendous amount of goodwill. Like I said, hers is more hard to comprehend than anything else, because it's so above and beyond what is normal in my mind, in my experience. But it's awesome to see and watch and witness, and it's a great juxtaposition. So you have this scene with her, right, versus like a scene with D'Angelo and all of them where they're tossing pictures of dead bodies across the table for that entire scene. You know, that scene is horrific. This scene is the opposite of that. And you need that in a show like this. Otherwise it's just bleakness all the time. Yeah, this great scene. Just great scene. I was all the way in. They had me. I was all the way in it. Yes, I don't even have my normal analysis for this because they had me all the way in. It was great.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned, to your point, this leads to the Bubbles McNulty scene where you have McNulty gives Bubbles enormous amount of money, a lot of money. The money from that Kima, the money that came from Kima. Yeah, the money that came from Kima, yes.
Yeah.
And immediately he is, as well as the audience, if you're paying attention, able to recognize that Bubbles is using again.
I'm not saying he doesn't, but he definitely doesn't say anything.
Yeah, no, he doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything. Well, I shouldn't say he was. I shouldn't jump to him. I should say we as an audience were able to recognize immediately by Bubbles' appearance that he's using again. Bubbles initially doesn't take all the money, and tries to give some of it back, but ends up taking all of it.
And not ends up. See, all right, keep going. Because I'm about to go in on McNulty on this.
Go ahead. Hold on.
Not ends up. McNulty goes, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, he said yes. He
said, ain't no ends up in this.
Yeah, he says, "Are you sure?"
And Bubbles, he was handing you the money. He was very sure.
Yes. So Bubbles is handing McNulty part of the money. And then to your point, McNulty says, "Are you sure?" And then Bubbles takes all the money. And then he asks Jimmy to tell Kima that he's not using.
Just don't say it. Just don't tell her. Just don't say it.
And Bubbles walks away and immediately goes and buys some drugs.
Yeah. So like he's back, and so So now I am going to have to break this down a little bit because this isn't even about McNulty. And I've been trying to bite my tongue because this episode is so good at this. The reason why The Wire stands out and will always stand out over the history of time is not specifically every move that the characters made and what they did and what they said. That's great, and that makes great television. But what makes this a superior show is the thematic elements that they bring in. So what you have in two separate cases, right? You talk about three separate cases. You talked about the Herc and Carver conversation. Then you also have I'll just use, there's a million different examples of this, but I'll just use Avon and what he talks about with the Fiends conversation. And then you have McNulty and Bubs. So I'll start with Avon when he's talking about, I want those Fiends falling out, right? He's talking about his package. He's not thinking about life, death, destruction, what he's doing to his community, those different types of things. Of course not. And he's not thinking about those as real people. They're Fiends. He wants them falling out.
Yes.
Dying, whatever, be damned, just to let everybody know. So that's dehumanizing of people, right? And then you have the same thing with Herc and Carve. When they're looking at people getting beat with bats, and all Carver can come up with and think in his mind is that's why we're going to lose, because they get beat up when they do some things wrong. That's dehumanizing. The thing that pisses me off the most about McNulty and the Bub situation, and the fact that I'm pissed off is good because this is what good writing does and good acting does. They weren't playing this for any other way. I should feel some type of way for this because this is the actual statement the writers and the actors meant in this scene. McNulty is dehumanizing Bubs. All he sees Bubs as is a thing. The difference between him and Kima, they both came. Kima didn't even have the cash there. But the difference between him and Kima is Kima sees Bubs as a person and cares about him as a human being, which is why he doesn't go and do drugs. When McNulty doesn't give a shit about him as a human being, dehumanizes him, and it's basically like, no, take the money because you're going to need it to buy as many drugs as you can, because that's all you do is drugs. Then Bubs is, I'm not making a one-on-one correlation and blame. The thematic build is the dehumanization of a population, of a certain population. And that's what they're showing thematically, and that's what they're showing in these instances, and that's my very visceral reaction to this McNulty and Bubs scene. There is no shine in what McNulty does at all, not even a little bit. There's zero. And it's not meant to shine. He's a piece of shit here. He's a piece of shit. And he's not a piece of shit because of some innate flaw in him. He's a piece of shit here because of what the show is stating, is that in this war on drugs, in this policing of a population and everything, the reason why it fails is because we don't see them as human beings. That's the entire reason. That's the entire thesis of this entire show, which when I get to the end, I'll talk about. That's why season 2 is so brilliant, because they moved that camera off of black people and put it on the white people and showed the same type of dehumanization that goes on and the destruction that is wrought there for it. So that's why I have such a visceral reaction for this scene. This scene doesn't play any other way to me than this is somebody who just sees somebody else as a drug addict, right? Kima wants McNulty to give this money to Bubs to better Bubs. McNulty can't see that in that moment. He's so wrapped up in himself and his guilt, which Kima, in her state, tried to take off of him. Not her job. She shouldn't have. I get it, because I get that impetus of, if I feel like somebody's sad, I need to take it away from no matter how I'm feeling. So I get it, but from her, she shouldn't have had done that at all. And McNulty needs to do a little bit more. The police department needs to do a little bit more. The federal government needs to do a little bit more. We as people need to do a little bit more. That's the thesis statement of this. If we actually want to uplift people out of this shit and not just shove them in jail cells, there's a different way to do it. There's a different way of policing, and then there's a different way of being a human. McNulty's one end, Kima's the other end of it.
No question about it. I cannot add anything to that. So you have Herc and Carver. Turns out, of course, and turns out that, of course, Herc did not get the sergeant's position. And no shit, Herc. You had a lot of you got a lot of what you call it, brutality.
It's called police brutality. That's what it's called.
He said, it must have been a brutality. It must have been the brutality. Really.
Yeah.
But the flip side is Carver ends up getting the position. Of course, we find it for a different reason, and we'll
I mean, it's not a different reason, but it's on top of.
On top of.
Right? Playing the game for some reason has come to the perspective of you gotta just kiss ass and have no competency.
But no,
that's not accurate at all. He has a tremendous amount of competency.
No, he's competent.
I go back to the scene, remember? And the only reason I bring this up is because I don't want to demean Carver and his character. Carver was studying hard. Herc didn't give a shit.
No.
That's essentially why Herc's not a sergeant and Carver is. Now, Carver also played the game too, and I thought, anyways, keep going.
Yeah. So
we'll break.
Of course,
I'll let his words speak for themselves. Carver
gets the position. You see Freeman during that same scene come in with Charlene. So at this point we know that they're officially together. They come in with some food. He also at the end of that scene, before he closes the door, he gets the number. They get the information from Weebay's number. So now he knows Weebay's whereabouts. And at the end of the scene, Carver, as they're looking at Charlene and Freeman, the Carver says the world's on his ass. Had to hit to kind of wrap up that scene. This scene was a lot of, it was some setup in the scene as well. So we can flesh out some more stuff moving forward with this scene. We already mentioned Herc, Herc and Carver. Freeman. Now we get to the feds. Freeman, McNulty, Daniels, Perlman, Fitzhugh, and the feds. So they want. Of course, McNulty wants them to go hard in on Avon and Stringer, and in terms of that case, the feds want Clay Davis. So now we get back to the politicians. We get back to the money trail, things of that nature that comes up in this scheme.
Really quickly, to go back to that first meeting, they made it very clear that political corruption would get the needle moving, and it's the police that go, what type of political corruption? Because she goes, well, what do you got?
Yeah,
so,
you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
They didn't come in there head hunting for Clay Davis.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They so they figured that they figured that they wanted Avon and Stringer to lead them. These are the feds wanted Avon and Stringer to lead them as cooperators to Clay Davis, and of course this is totally opposite of what the cops are talking about. Then I'm thinking about the idea of lightening Avon's sentence to as a snitch for Clay Davis is just not realistic for them. And Freeman brings up a key point in regards to the property scam that the Barksdales were running through politics. So they were buying up property, buying up a bunch of property, and getting tipped off by the politicians on which properties to buy, and then they would resell it at a much higher price. So we learned
real estaters and lots of people do that all the time, right? Yep. Like nothing they described in there was new.
No. So McNulty, of course, typical McNulty, completely insults the U.S. attorney, calls them a bunch of empty suits, and that's very important because we'll discuss the ramifications of that, and there were definitely some serious ramifications in terms of that. But ultimately, they don't have an interest. Like the feds have no interest in locking up Avon Barksdale for an extended period of time or Stringer, none of that. They want to use them to get to the politicians and corrupt politicians like Senator Clay Davis, which we'll see in seasons moving forward. What were your thoughts on this scene?
Yeah. All right, so let me get the big.
Hold on. Hold on. I'm sorry.
I'm not even going after McNulty. I'm not going after anybody, anything.
So
first.
I want to give a couple quick.
Okay.
So Daniels and Perlman absolutely were on the same page during this scene. I wanted to make sure acknowledge that.
I was going to acknowledge that as well.
Perlman shook her head, as to say, no, this is as far as it's going to go.
Yep.
And Daniels said, we're going in a different direction.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure I got that.
Yep. Nope. That's perfect. That'll lead in second, and I'll be really light on that because that was perfect. I was going to say that. So the big thing, the first big huge thing, and I'm not gonna stay on this for a long point in time, but it's the big thematic element. So I got to talk about it. It's the difference between like terrorism, like 9/11 terrorism, like all of that I mentioned. Yep, absolutely. But also inherently in what the FBI is saying, what they're representing in that scene, or the federal government, whoever they're representing, is that it's too small time. Black crime doesn't mean anything. Project crime doesn't rate. Which is another way to dehumanize people, right? Like what McNulty is saying, where he's very valid in. The counterpoint, of course, is that, we're talking about terrorism that happens every once in a while, and these murders happen every single day. What the fuck, right? And then the guy goes, you know, that type of hyperbole will not serve you here, or whatever. Whatever type of statement, whatever the word he put to it, was. But and then McNulty ratchets it up, which does nothing. But the point is that that's an extension of dehumanizing people, is you don't relate to their plight, and their plight means nothing to you, and therefore, you know, it is what it is. So that's the overarching big huge point. But I went in a little bit hard with Bubs and McNulty, so I'll back up on that one. I just want to co-sign off of what you said. I love this scene for the specific reasons that you said. This is to me the moment where the show departed from McNulty being the main character, from being the face, and it became a true ensemble show. Because this wasn't about McNulty's reaction. As a matter of fact, everybody just dismissed McNulty's reaction.
Yeah.
And went about it in the way that it needed to go about it. So it was a great juxtaposition of how you actually, as an adult, handle situations, not as a child having a tantrum every single time you don't get your way, but how you handle it as an adult in a conversation with other adults who have various ranks and bosses and everything that they need to be thinking about as well. So I love that scene for that, and then I love the scene for its construct of how day-to-day crime can be viewed, or can be what's the word I'm looking for? Shrunken down, made tiny. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. But how it can be just pushed off into the corner, and not taken seriously at all, because this group of people, their lives don't matter anyways. So whatever.
Oh, it's the famous line from the end of Boys in the Hood. You know, Ice Cube sitting on the porch with Trey after, you know, Ricky's been killed, says either they don't know, don't show, or don't care about what's going on in the hood. Because he's watching the news, and he said the news was talking about some shit that had nothing to do with anything.
Yep.
You know,
yep. And that was the 90s, and this is
right.
That was 2002.
Right.
And so what the Wire is saying is that you could take those first two out of it. They damn sure know, they just don't care.
Right. And to your point about McNulty, the first outburst was, okay, he was actually making a good point about the terrorism. He's like, the Barksdales are dropping 14, 15 bodies. That's a form of terrorism. That was a very legitimate and fair point.
But as all right, I'm just going to say just to add right back, because anyway, just as all of our mothers have taught us, and every other responsible adult, right? They all say, it's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it.
It's how you say it.
So yeah, he was making a good point that first time, but he was doing it in the worst way possible, where nobody was going to hear what the fuck point he was trying to make.
No, how he made it obviously wasn't the most articulate, but the empty suits one, that was the comment that just come on. Yo, you call state's attorney.
And it's not even that. It's just like, what? I mean, like, no. Even if you feel the privilege that McNulty obviously feels, even that, it's just like, if your end goal is to work with these guys or to get them to do X, Y, what does insulting them do?
No, nothing.
Right?
It did something to him, but in terms of helping him,
in terms of getting your goal met, right? Yeah, it's damn sure going to have a negative effect. Sure, yeah.
Nothing to help your
cause. Yeah, absolutely. I can do a billion different things that I know will have a negative outcome. Yep.
So put a bookmark next to that.
But you want your goals met.
Yeah, put a bookmark next to that. McNulty insult did not end well for him from that standpoint. D'Angelo and Brianna Barksdale. So she gets down to Jersey and talks D'Angelo out of taking talks D'Angelo out of completely flipping on Ava. Now D'Angelo has already given up more than he ever should have, as far as in terms of.
Well, none of that goes on there. Like, the attorney made it very clear, until there was a agreement, deal signed, sealed, and delivered, that anything that he said would be kept in that room.
Right. But I'm saying though, he's already made.
But yes,
he's already hurt. He's already
yeah,
hurt the organization.
Yeah, they can make plenty of moves off of what he told them.
He's already done. He's done a lot of damage. He's done a lot.
Also, remember, this isn't about hurting the Barksdale quote unquote organization. For D'Angelo, this is very personal. This don't have shit to do with the Barksdale organization. That's what he was. Yeah, that's the mindset. And then mom gets there.
Yeah, but his
and I know all of us can feel like, just real quick, like even this two characters who I know are fictional. Watch her come through that jail cell. I'm like, ooh, he's in trouble. Like nobody wants them problems. Your mom walking through anything to come and tell you anything.
So Brianna Barks,
none of that is going to be a good.
She comes in, and really, again, the acting in the scene was just top notch. She basically shows you why D'Angelo ended up where he ended up, and why, and she gives you the heart of what the Barksdales are and what they stand for. She comes in and says, you're talking about walking away, you're talking about being free. What are they giving you? So she already knows the deal. She already knows that they're offering him with protection. She's in the game. She knows what time it is. She says, how the fuck you gonna start over without your people, without your family, without your child? She says, basically, the game is the reason why we are not living in, living basically in poverty. Like we wouldn't be a family. But she has a very convincing argument. For a criminal, the shit is convincing. I'm not even gonna lie. She's now morally, we know she's wrong, but again, she's his mom. He's going to listen to her. She carries weight as Avon's sister.
This is mom.
And this is mom. No, this is mom.
There's no other.
Mom. No, this is mom. No, this is mom.
Like, you don't even have to pull anything else out.
This is mom. But her argument is convincing. The game got us out this shithole. We wouldn't be a family. If you hurt him, you're gonna hurt everybody. If he goes away, can you step up and be the king? So she, like, if this were a debate, she wins. She would have been on the.
But I guess my question is, what's the argument? What are they debating? What are they debating?
Well, they're not debating, but in terms of convincing him,
Well, what's the convincing? I mean, like what, like no. Eddie, keep going.
Well,
I see what you're saying. I get it. I get what you're saying.
Because you remember, before she walks into that room, he's ready to snitch. He's ready to give up the entire Barksdale organization.
Yeah.
Once he walks into that room.
And like I said, and that I love it because we can all relate to that feeling. Doesn't matter. Your mom walks through that door.
Yeah.
Things are changing immediately.
So she talks him out.
No matter what space you were in before, mom walks through that door.
She talks him out.
We're just gonna have a whole different new conversation.
And of course, we find out that she talks him out of it, and he rehires Levy. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this time around, I related a lot with D'Angelo. So I'm looking at it from D'Angelo's perspective more than the Barksdale organization perspective.
Right.
Because D'Angelo, I'm just gonna go here because I can't pace myself anymore. D'Angelo made the argument for himself in that room with the police. He stated he's only in this because his family, this is what the family does, and then that's a larger conversation about what does abject poverty give you. And that's a larger argument or case for the institutions in this country where you are, where all of that is, and like what actual routes you have for success, right? And so what D'Angelo's saying is this was never a choice. What he was saying in there, this was never a choice for me. Didn't nobody sit me down and present me with other options.
No.
I was always going to be in this. And what he says in that statement with them is, I don't want to. This has never been me. But they keep pushing me here. That's what that comment about I can't breathe anymore means. So the question is, what is it? Because I hear this a lot from Black families all the time. My family very much included. Families all you got is your family. That is 100% accurate in one statement. Then the second, my retort to that is, what happens when your family's the worst thing for you?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you do then? Right? Yeah. So yeah, I hear you, Mom. Family's great, and family's all you're gonna have at the end. Yeah, but what if y'all the worst thing for me? What do I do then? And so, like, that's the catch-22 that he's in, and there's no other way for him to go. Because you're absolutely right. What she's saying is accurate. I empathize with him and related to him because we've all had those just feelings of, I just want to just go somewhere else and just do me. Right? Great. Sounds great in your head, but actually making that happen is damn near impossible for any of us because we have too many responsibilities and relationships, and a lot of that is tied, of course, to our family. So you're 100% right. Accurate as the argument is, it's still the worst possible scenario for D'Angelo. Even in that moment, even without knowing the ramifications of everything, it's still the worst possible scenario because then on the flip side, you got to look at it. This is this person's mom, and she's coming in here trying to figure out how he's going to do 20 years. This is my mom. Yeah. Trying to figure out how I'm going to do 20 years.
So, and I just thought about it because I want to make one last point about this. So she...
Great point. They were amazing. All that emote, like, I love it when shows can bring out, like, pure, unadulterated emotion in me. That tells me that everybody's doing their damn jobs. Yeah. Everybody's doing their damn job.
It was a phenomenal scene. One of the best scenes of the season. In that moment, right, despite the fact that she is his mother, and we go back to our institutions versus individuals, she's choosing the institution of the Barksdales over his best interests.
She's choosing,
even as a mother,
her best interest over that of her child.
Yes, her and the family, along with the Barksdale names. Avon, it's Avon too.
Well, so you got to strip all that away, right? Like, if we're going to personalize it, let's personalize it. That's her brother.
Yes.
That's not like Barksdale, like, and they joke about this going back to my organized crime. Like, the Gotti family don't call themselves the Gottis. What's another famous mafia organization? In real life. Not the Corleone. That's all that came to my head. I was gonna go real. I mean, like, I know all of them, Lucchese's, the Gambinos, and everything. I don't know if everybody knows all that. That's why I said Gotti was Gambino fan. So that makes it. Gotti's Gambino. So anyway, so they didn't refer to themselves. None of them in this thing of ours, the La Cosa Nostra, referred to the family name as who they were the Columbos. Like, no, that's not a thing. The Barksdales, they don't refer to themselves. We're the Barksdales. I don't refer to myself and my family, we're the Saps. That's ridiculous. Like, nobody does that. And so that's her brother. So now we need to personalize it. This is not an organizational structure thing. What she's poking at with D'Angelo is the family ties, the thing that bonds them together. And what she's saying is, by you getting back at your uncle, you're going to destroy all of us. Yes. You're going to destroy me, your mother. You're going to destroy the mother of your child, and you're going to destroy your child. She goes directly personal. This ain't no organizational shit.
No.
At all.
No.
It ain't about Weebay and Servino. It ain't about none of that. No. Damn them. This is about me. How am I going to live and exist out of here? With what she said, in terms of abject poverty and it only being us selling drugs, that's we know how that argument goes, that's their only option. But whatever, that's the argument she's making in this moment, that was our move out of poverty. If you remove this, then you will be sticking us right back into poverty.
Yes. Yep.
And that shot about her and Avon is a cheap ass shot. And the way you know it is because D'Angelo immediately goes, "Man, you know I don't want any of that shit. You know I'm not ready for that. I don't want that. Nobody want, like, I don't want that. He's never wanted that. That's never been different from Stringer. That's never been Barks D'Angelo's motivation is to be the guy. That's never been his motivation. And she knows that. So it's a cheap ass shot.
Yeah.
But effective.
Yeah, it was. Definitely.
She's a mom. Moms, they know. They know how to
I twist the
get
knife
directly to you. Yep.
You have Daniels and Carver. This, of course, after Carver has gotten, promoted to sergeant. Daniels tells Carver, he knows that he was the snitch. And then he goes on a tangent, basically saying, what type of cop do you want to be? He says, if you're going to be leading a squad, if you show them police work, that's what they'll do. If you show them something else, that's what they'll do. If you show them some other shit, the bullshit, that's what they'll do. So basically, and there was a lot to the scene, but basically what he's asking Carver, what type of cop do you want to be moving forward? Or what type of cop are you going to be moving forward not only as a cop, but as a leader, possibly a leader of men? And I also thought this was a personal, not attack on Carver, but this is kind of like this was Daniels. This was Daniels basically talking about himself to Carver.
Talking man to man. This is a man to man conversation. Yep.
So, what were your thoughts?
Yeah. Very similar. Very. Because I mean, it's the when whoever that older adult male in your life is. It was my father for me. We're disappointed in you, and they go the other route instead of instead of going the route you think they're about to go, wilding out, getting upset at everything. They switch it up and do what type of man do you want to be?
Yeah.
And all those conversations play really heavy, at least for me in my mind, because it was at the absolute time that it was needed to have. Only father figure type elements can have those conversations with you, right? Like the men in your life that you respect, whoever's above you, however that goes, whether it's older or wisdom or whatever it is. Those are the ones that can have those impactful conversations like that with you. And so, yeah, Daniels could have crushed him just off the insubordination alone, personally made his life a living hell, done all that type of stuff. But I think this speaks to Daniels as well in terms of he's saying that for himself, right? Like, what type of police sergeant will I be sending then out to everybody if I do all of that?
Right.
Like if this is a teachable moment as educators, we both recognize those come in all types of different formats. It most often doesn't actually have a lot to do with standing up in front of kids and saying something to them. It's actually helping them learn, and adults are very much this way, through successes, failures, disappointments, ups, downs, all that stuff, right? And so this is a teachable moment. And Daniels took that time to do that in a variety of different ways and from a variety of different mindsets that he's in. And then also Daniels knows Carver, I had forgotten Carver's statement back to Daniels. But when he goes and, the deputy ops is standing there in front of you telling you, like, think about it. Whoever's your most highest boss, like the highest boss is inviting you and asking you to do something for them. How many of us are going to say no?
Right.
Come on.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest. Let's be real. And that was very, like, when I heard him, I went, yeah, that's tough. That's tough. You're not even a sergeant yet, and the tippy top. This isn't your This isn't your the tippy top.
Well, he says in the scene. He says, "I've never even been on the 8th floor before."
Yeah.
Like that. That tells you all you need to know.
Yeah. And people in power use things like that all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. So
That's why I call it power.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think Daniels knew that as well. Not only Daniels knew from experience what that's like to have people try to manipulate you based off of their status in the
Daniels, you just mentioned it. Daniels doesn't fuck with Burrell either. So that I think that was kind of part of it too. So Daniels doesn't fuck. He does.
Yeah, but it was through experience. I agree with you. He definitely does it, but it was through experience of feeling like crap, being the pipeline to Burrell, and knowing that Burrell is only looking out for himself as well.
Right.
So there, I mean, like, those are what teachable moments are. Those are why moments like that can only come from people who show you a different path and who you trust, because there's a lot of different moving parts to that conversation. Again, another brilliantly acted, written, everything. There's just so many moving parts to that, and a lot of it is unsaid. There's only so many words you can say, because a conversation like that is not built off of, and then the next thing you'll do is go pick up the classroom, like in our job, right? Like, and then this is how you're going to show how you fix it. No, you're just going to have to show you're a better person over time. Right. Like, that's, and that's out of the person's viewpoint that's giving you this conversation. Most likely, most of that's going to occur outside of their purview. So most of it's unsaid. There's a lot. And as a matter of fact, what's said in that conversation, in those types of conversations, usually isn't the most important. It's when we go back and think by ourselves on what the person said to us. That's where the actual real work happens. And so, man, it just really well done. Really well done.
So next you have detail arresting Weebay in Philadelphia. Of course, they got the trap and trace. Not much to add from this scene, though. I will say that Weebay made a mistake. I didn't mention this earlier. Weebay, the reason why they were able to get to him in direct address, they knew he was in Philly through D'Angelo and what have you. But the reason why they were able to get to him in that particular address is he was calling Levy and leaving messages for Levy, so they were able to trace those calls. So he fucked up from that standpoint. And you see when Weebay goes into jail or gets arrested, that is, of course, a big time, to say the least, big time blow to the Barksdale organization, to say the least. So you have Perlman and Levy. Perlman gets the call.
Wait, go back really quickly, because is Weebay, are they also in the, is that also where he's in the
No.
The room? Okay, so that's not it. Okay.
This is just him.
Yep.
So Perlman gets the call from Levy. Of course, Levy is back with D'Angelo. Perlman already knows what time it is. Once they realize, once the public defender has been let go, he says, put the asshole on the phone. And then the funny part, Levy is like, here he is. Levy loves these type of moments. He loves to give it back to the not to the police, but yeah, in that way, he loves to win. So they have a call. They discuss. They have a call in regards to D'Angelo. I don't think this would lead up to the negotiation in regards to the sentence. So unless you want to add something, that was pretty straightforward.
I actually do have something to add on this one.
Go ahead.
So this is one of the few times that I can say that The Wire feels gimmicky. And I say this for this reason. You would have think they would have learned after Wallace, and the mistake is what it is. That's not the gimmicky part. I always think about that. I've always thought about that. Like, why did they make that same mistake in the exact same season? But the gimmicky part is that they start celebrating before everything is locked in. Come on now. Come on. You just made this mistake. This isn't like years ago. You just made this mistake. You cannot then be like, oh, everything's great when nothing is that. Like, this is the career. Like, come on now. Come on. So that's what I mean by gimmicky. Like, in terms of that is something that I can see as specifically being written and produced into that show to really drive the point home of the police and the DA, the police and law, the legal system doesn't have its shit together, and they rarely talk to each other on a functioning basis, and that it hurts people because of that. Yada yada yada. But yeah, it was redundant, and it was the same thing. So that's the only thing.
Yeah.
But we give this show so much credit for so many different things. It's only fair to point out.
Right. No.
And it's nothing negative, like in terms of just like, every show.
No, but it's legitimate.
But I just wanted to point that out.
It's a legitimate point. Ross McNulty. So McNulty walks into the office but dead man walking. Rawls has already heard about, and I'll getting back to the empty suits comment. Rawls heard about it because has heard about it because the feds called and said, mentioned that they were discussing the case with McNulty in detail.
Here's my thing. We don't even have to get that serious and that deep in it. Rawls heard about it because his subordinate was an asshole.
Yes, that's why. Right.
To another top organization. That's why. Like if I'm an asshole in somebody else's school and I just go in there and start doing crazy stuff, you better believe that word is going to get back to my principal. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Rawls heard about it based on the McNulty comment.
Because McNulty's being an asshole. Yes.
Being McNulty.
That's how life works, McNulty. You can't just say everything you want to say to everybody. And with no consequences.
Yeah, even Rawls had to laugh at it. You called the state's attorney an empty suit. He's like, I give you credit for having balls on you.
Sure.
Then
all the balls you want.
So then Rawls is like, he's like, you know what, Jimmy, you done some good work here. He done some good work here. And he asked McNulty, where doesn't he want to go? And then the scene cuts. We know even if you hadn't seen the show before, you know McNulty was fucked.
Well, and even beyond that, even if you're just watching this season, all you have to do is go back to Lester's words, because he told McNulty way back when he first got there, when they ask you where you don't want or where you want to go, don't tell them, because that's what happened to him. He was relating the story. How did he end up? Because McNulty asked him, how did he end up in the property, whatever. Office after I think it's when he took him out for a drink after he got the number off the wall. I think that was the reason why. I know the scene is when he took Freeman out to drink to the bar and asked Freeman, how did he end up in the property office for 13 days, 4 months, and you know how Freeman does.
Yeah.
And so the pawn shop unit. Yeah. And so that's anyway, I'm thinking about another character. And so you don't even have to go, like, of course we know what happens, but you don't even have to go to next season. All you gotta do is listen to, like, Freeman told you.
Yeah.
He told you. So in that scene, what your hope, if you're just this season in that scene, you're just like, when I remember originally, I'm just like, don't tell him, McNulty, don't say it. That's what you're hoping. And then we find out.
And you knew McNulty was walking, because number one, they weren't even supposed to. They went over the deputy ops and Rawls and them ahead to try to push.
McNulty was fucked. Yeah, so word go almost in this.
Yeah, so that was he was again walking into that office.
But I just remember Lester did warn him.
Yeah, he did. No, he got warning.
A long time ago.
No, he got warning.
So McNulty, what are you doing?
So we move to Levy, Perlman, Daniels, and the assistant district attorney. They are discussing the sentencing of the Barksdale members. They basically are negotiating, and Levy was brilliant in this scene. Basically are negotiating how many years that they're going to get. They start in terms of how many years that they're going to get. Again, this was Levy's scene, because Levy seemed like he walked in with a Bill Belichick like game plan. Like he was ready, and you know, Avon, and we'll get to the scene later. Courts, we'll get to the later scene with the couple of court scenes, but Levy's performance in the scene jumped out. I forgot the actor that plays him, but he was ready when they started talking about the sentencing of all the Barksdale members, including Avon's sentence. What were your thoughts?
Well, that's so yes. And then I want to go back to the scene where they were outside and they were coming up with the plan. Nothing Levy said was different than the plan that they all came up with. So this is, if we're going to go back to organizational structure, this was the CEOs meeting with their lawyer to discuss the plan. And they executed it well. Absolutely. But that's why I like that scene so much earlier, because it leads into this one, and he's so well prepared because they're all so well prepared in crisis management.
So correct me if I'm wrong. The plan, the strategy was that all the Barksdale people
roll them all up into one.
Roll them all up into one plea. But lighten Avon's sentence. Is that right?
Avon will get 3 years. Avon's going to have to take the 3 years for whatever it was. Gunshot, I can't remember what it was.
7 years. Yeah, NWC.
But in order, everyone's going to come in and agree to the years. Yes. They're not going to negotiate years because, of course, what they know, what the district attorney's office wants is to flip. They want to flip them up as much as possible. Where it start lower on the totem pole and then just keep going up. So by having them all, of course, already have the years and everything locked in, there's no reason for anybody to talk. So that was the plan. Yeah. In order to make sure there were no extended years that were going to put on Avon's sentence. And nobody would even remotely bring up Stringer.
No. And it basically worked to perfection. Perlman, Avon, Levy in the court. Avon pleads guilty pleads guilty, gets 7 years. You see D'Angelo, and you can basically combine these two scenes with two court scenes where D'Angelo gets course 20 years from 2 prior convictions that he remember he opened the season in court based off a murder. That they end up getting them off with the witness and with the security guard and with the security guard and who they end up killing. So Avon gets 7 years, which basically is nothing in terms of for a drug kingpin. Well, for a drug kingpin, 7 years. He gets 7. For
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Compared to what he compared to what he was wanting, he could have got.
Yes.
And D'Angelo gets hit with the 20 years.
Yeah.
Which obviously,
Well, I would struggle with that as well if I was D'Angelo. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm getting 4 years? And he's the top of all this? I would struggle with that. I would struggle. That would be a struggle.
Yeah, that
would be hard for me to figure that out mentally in my head. My mom probably would have got me as well, but then, the time when you're not with your mom, it's hold up.
No, that's
don't make a lot of sense right now. I'm not feeling the love of this situation.
That would be a rough.
It'll be hard. It'll be hard for me to rationalize that on a daily basis.
So then we get
here longer than him.
Right.
Why?
So then we get to Weebay, Bunk, Norris, and the assistant.
Not even an equal sentence? I can do with an equal. If I had 20 and he had 20, then that would make sense. But what? You don't give him less?
Yeah.
I go to jail longer? Yeah, that would be hard. That would be very hard.
You get Weebay, Bunk, Norris, and the assistant district attorney. Weebay takes all the murders, even murders that he didn't commit, for life in prison. And some food, and some tater sandwiches, some sandwiches with some horseradish, and a Coke. So he starts copping all the murders. Little Man, Nikisha Lyles, Deja Crescent, even Gant, which Bunk knows it, which is bullshit. We know he didn't kill Gant, but again, why not? Why not take on extra murders? And Rebate, of course, doesn't give up anything on Stringer or Avon. What were your thoughts on this scene?
I don't think if I had anything extra to add. Nope. Nope. Good scene, setup scene.
Daniels and Cantrell. So
Wait, I think I did. Wait, hold on, really quick. I think I wanted to go back.
when Rebate got arrested, to that connection.
Maybe. Keep going.
Daniels Cantrell. Now, if you remember, this is why The Wire is so brilliant. Cantrell, we've seen him twice this season. The other time that we saw him, Daniels was begging him for personnel. And I think he ended up getting Signer and somebody else, not Perez, but Signer. He ended up getting Signer. Getting Signer from him. Now, Cantrell gets promoted to a major. This was a position that Daniels was in line for in the middle of the season before he just went completely, straight, basically. So Cantrell lets Daniels know, I got the position. I could use a nice shift lieutenant, which is a slap in the face at this point to Daniels, because Daniels thought that he was in line to be a major. And then, of course, Daniels also sees Hurt talking to some young officers as well, and being straight hypocrite, talking about using your brain and all this shit. When he's
or he learned.
Or he's learned. Yeah, there's some character development with that, I guess, with that scene with Hurt and young cops. But yeah, he had a couple moments. But the big piece of the scene is the Daniels Cantrell interaction. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because it's like there's another underlying set of I use the word thesis a lot. That's the wrong word. I like it so much. So there's another like thematic is the best. And it is, can you be can you play the game and can you be honest? Like,
Right.
are those two things mutually exclusive from each other? Or can it happen? So this is something they'll explore over the entire series. And so that's a lot. That's a lot in depth, and I'm not gonna go in there. But that I wanted to honor that that's what they're talking about here. And so the implication, at least now, where the show is that you cannot. So the moment Daniel said a few episodes back, I am going to play this straight, he let go of that promotion.
Yeah.
That moment he let go of the promotion. Now the question is that right? Is that okay? Can anything change that? And the show will wrestle with that for the next 4 seasons. Um, and so, but that's what's going on. That's what's going on in this moment. Yeah, Daniels lost that promotion because he didn't play ball.
No. Yep.
That it's just that simple. That's the implication in there. But there's a larger theme that they continue to build on. That's not just where it lies.
So you have McNulty and Stringer. Now, keep in mind, McNulty walked out the courtroom in the middle of the proceedings.
He's not happy.
He's not happy at all. He's sitting on a park bench, not a park bench, but a wooden bench, and just basically contemplating, his role in all of this. And I'm sure asking himself the question: was all of this worth it? Stringer basically taunts him. Not basically, he does taunt him and says, nicely done, repeating what McNulty
going back from the first episode.
Yes,
yep.
The very first episode of the season. So
yep.
that was a nice pull.
Yep, right back at you.
Right back at you, and nicely done. And I'm the new king right now. So Stringer was definitely winning in this episode without question. That was a quick scene. What were your thoughts on that?
Just as it's a callback to that first episode.
Yeah,
you nailed it.
Bodie now has a tower. So Bodie is on the phone with, I don't know who he's on the phone with. Sound like he's talking about re-up, getting re-up. He has a tower. He's been promoted. He says if Ra don't come with my re-up, no, I'm already. I'm thinking about No, he doesn't. I'm already in season 2. He
Yeah,
says
season 1 over.
yeah, he says that no, he's been promoted at this point. He's been promoted, but he's
I was gonna say, let's pause really quickly. There's a difference between a promotion and everybody goes to jail, and you're the only one left standing.
well, yeah, that too. That's true. Yeah,
But I get he has a
no,
tower. He does have a tower. He
yes, but
he
he
showed
was right.
competence enough.
To your point, there's not a lot of Barksdale.
Yeah, they did not. They was like, "Yo, we need you to ride. We're gonna select you because you're performing so much better than her." Nah,
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't because of. No, well, it was. It was. I'm sure it was like it was for killing Wallace. So he, from that standpoint, that was.
Yeah. No. I mean, we know all the different moves
not,
that were going in. We had a long conversation over that, but
not a lot of people left. To your point.
No, there was nobody left.
Because not a lot of people left because as we find out,
Putin's running the pit. Sorry. I didn't yell that. That's what a legitimate, I always say when things are hilarious in the office, pay attention because something's deep going on. There's nothing deep that was going on in the down. That was just hilarious. We all just wanted to see Putin feel like the man in the pit. That's it.
So,
that was just glorious and beautiful.
Before we get to Putin, because I want to get to that scene. I'm going to get to that. Freeman, you have Freeman, Laws, and Lasman. Lasman is a classic yes man, just a classic company man. I mean, he is a company man to a T. Basically, Rawls is saying, hey, we got a certain way of doing things here. You're not going to tell Freeman, this whole, basically this, do it yourself way.
No, he's telling them how the unit is run. Like, see, don't let that McNulty mindset poison everything. He's telling them how the unit runs, how they work murders. He's not giving him any crazy edicts.
No, it's not a crazy edict.
But he is very clearly saying, I know you were with McNulty. Don't do none of that dumb shit here.
Yeah. It's subtle. Yeah, it's not outright.
He is definitely, that's the whole reasonable. That's the whole part of that. Yep, I get it.
Yep. So then now we get to Pooh. So Pooh has been promoted to the pit manager. And yeah, when Pooh is the pit manager, the pickings are slim. He's sitting out. I'm sure you noticed this. Sitting on a black couch. So they go from the orange couch to the black couch, which I might be reaching. I thought was a little bit symbolic.
Yeah, I didn't notice this one. So
I might be reaching. So Pooh's sitting on the black couch. He reprimands a young dealer for doing doing the deal and taking the money all in one deal.
Yeah,
and that's a callback to D'Angelo.
Schooling them,
yes. So it's a callback to that. I'll bring up the black couch because again, shows like this don't do stuff for no reason. We all been to funerals before. And the color mainly is black. So I think that's kind of like meant that it was kind of like meant that the Barksdale Empire was dying, not all the way dead, but I might be reaching a little bit, but I couldn't think of anything else of why they would switch to a black couch from an orange couch.
The pit is dead.
The pit is dead. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, if Pooh is running the pit, then the pit is dead. And Pooh.
I was gonna do that. See, you coming at Pooh.
Pooh should not know.
The pit is dead because they're done, essentially.
Yeah. But also, if Pooh is running the pit, then the pit is dead too. Pooh should not be running the pit. Pooh shouldn't be running the pit. At all. And to be honest with you, I don't think Bodie should have a tower. I think Bodie should have been running the pit. But
again, all their peoples are in jail.
Oh yeah, no, pickings are slim. There's no this is like going to school with like.
That's what I say. Let's be clear. We cannot call this a promotion.
No, this is not promotion. Yeah. It's not promotion. No,
so they're out there out of necessity.
Yes.
But also, it's a thing that the Wire will really dive into, of course, very later on. The game is inherent in the saying the game is that this thing keeps going. Doesn't matter who the players are. McNulty, Stringer, Barksdale, you can jumble them up, put other names in there. The game will be the game. This thing will move on. And so, yep, all of them will go to jail, there's another crew that will just replace because they've grown up in these they've grown up everything like all the that's why D'Angelo's statement in that room with the cops and his that was everything. That was everything. It was as huge as everything because it describes not only what's going on now, but what they will come to as their central. This is the right word. Their central thesis in season 4, the greatest season of television ever. Period. In the sentence. But anyways, we'll get there. I digress. So essentially, like. And again, see, I laughed at Putin and everything like that or whatever. But essentially, yes, of course, it's a meaningful thing. Everything is why it's freaking meaningful. So essentially, it's that it doesn't matter how many people you put in jails and how many convictions and everything that you're gonna get, because there will always be another to replace. Because the game needs that replacement. Because if we're not actually talking about the things that actually turns people into drug addicts, actually turns people into drug dealers, actually does this to communities, then what are we doing? And basically what we're doing is we're just wiping the slate clean every few years. So that then, and then as we know, this crew will eventually meet their own different types of fates. So the game just replenishes itself. And that's how you get Poot out in the pit.
Yep. Courtroom, you see.
Just for the alliteration purposes, though, Poot in the pit is perfect.
Yeah,
I said alliteration purposes, Cyril.
Yeah, I guess you. I got you.
I like saying Poot pit. Keep going.
We had the closing. Before we get to the closing montage, you have the courtroom. In the courtroom, we know D'Angelo's taking the 20 years. Avon gets to 7, and you have McNulty. McNulty now has returned to the courtroom to see the end, to see the sentencing. And Bunk tells him about all the murders that Weebay's taken. Of course, they discuss the fact that the Gant one is bullshit, but Bunk was like, hey, he's just taking murders just because, he's going to do life in prison.
And McNulty he breaks down why Weebay would want to do that, because he simply just goes, you taking all the murders, death row off the table anyway. You might as well try to get
bird free. Yeah, try to free birds.
Might as well try.
Yeah, why not?
So that's why Weebay does that.
And then you have Avon giving a head nod to McNulty as he walks off, and then McNulty says to Bunk, what the fuck did I do? And Bunk retorts, "You happy now, bitch?" And yeah, McNulty, this is what you were the catalyst to all of this, and you can ask the question, was it worth it? Considering everything that transpired over the course of the season, was it worth it? Closing montage. Now, before The Wire came along, I don't remember shows doing montages like this. Now, I guess, The Sopranos did it a little bit, but it's not to this level, not to this extent in terms of how long it was. So you see Bubbles and Johnny being Bubbles and Johnny. You see Santangelo, our buddy Sammy, on the beat, demoted to a beat cop. Carver promoted. Prez cleaned up the detail office. Kima looking out the window as a cop car passes with a walker. McNulty on a boat as Bunk and Freeman give him some liquor. Stringer at the new location. Now the head, now the man in charge. Omar robs a drug dealer in New York and says the epigraph, which is a traditional Baltimore saying, all in the game. And that's how the episode wrapped up. What were your thoughts on that montage?
I think when I was watching the montage, I was just thinking about the entire season. I was reflecting on the entire season, how good the show is. So the montage is great, but I don't have anything specific on the montage.
So MVPs and the Chardine Award, and also MVPs for the season, and the Chardine Award for the season. For the episode, I thought the MVP was Brianna Barksdale. I had her as MVP because if she doesn't go down there and talk D'Angelo out, the Barksdale organization is done completely. Just it's over. So I thought I had her as the MVP. The Chardine Award for Best Performance, I had D'Angelo. He was just brilliant in every scene that he was in this episode.
So we'll alternate the MVPs for the this episode, and then you'll go back for the season.
Right. Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. So for the episode, I'm giving D'Angelo MVP, and I'm giving Kima Chardine's award.
Okay.
The beginning was everything, and then D'Angelo's conversation with the police was everything. And by everything, I mean like it summed up what this season was about and ultimately what the show is about. Both of those conversations did. And not only worked for the character, but it worked overall for exactly what this show is. Yeah, and just on just like a personal level, it's just this is why this is in the single digits, because it's such an emotional story to tell, and to tell it to start off the episode with Kima in the hospital having that conversation, right? That's how it started off.
Right.
Yeah. Having that conversation, and then D'Angelo to expound the way that he expounded, man. And the only thing that separated enough for me was just D'Angelo had a little bit more to work with, because he also had the him and his mom moment, which is fantastic. Just like a tad bit more. Honestly, it's splitting the baby, but that's how I'll split it right now. D'Angelo MVP, Kima get Chardine's award. But I love your selection because she was on my list.
Yeah. She was tremendous too.
Yeah, she was tremendous. She was.
She did. She definitely did her thing. MVP of the season and the Chardine Award. So MVP of the season is D'Angelo. You think about this season, it was told through really his story. It really was told through his lens, along also with McNulty. But his scenes, and McNulty was great in this season too. The acting was great, the performance was great, but every scene he was in, it seemed like was impactful. I thought that, and again, The Wire, of course, never won any awards. I thought this was an Emmy. This was an Emmy Golden Globe type performance, without question.
We were a long ways from shows like The Wire getting Emmys at that time.
But this was a Emmy. His performance in the season,
yes,
without question, a Golden Globe Emmy. Any awards you can think of, that type of performance.
All you had to do was what you said in the beginning, to then just pretty much annihilate everything. The whole thought process behind the Emmy. The first thing you said was The Wire has never won any awards. I mean, like right there, everybody should be ashamed of themselves, and every award should be defunct. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah,
doesn't even make sense. So, yes, D'Angelo should have an Emmy.
And the Chardine Award for Best Performance, D'Angelo. I mean, he swept both of them to me. I thought his, like I said, he destroyed every scene that he was in seemingly, and had no actor in this season had more meaningful scenes than D'Angelo. In terms of the MVP, I had Freeman second, Daniels third. Those are my top three. But D'Angelo was by far, to me, the most impactful performer in season one.
I love the D'Angelo pick. I'm going to go in a different direction, but I love the D'Angelo pick. because I'm going to piggyback off of what you said, just in terms of just like he was our view from the Barksdale organization.
Right.
Right? Like if Barksdale, if Avon is Durrell, right? Like they're the corporate structure. They can't be the viewpoint from which you see everything from. McNulty was ours in the police department. D'Angelo was ours in the Barksdale organization. With that being said, my MVP of the season is Kima.
Nice.
Because her arc as a character is fantastic, and then like these last 3 episodes, culminating with this one where she finally wakes up and it speaks for herself, have all been generated around her, which is awesome. So I love her character arc, and then her getting shot ratcheted up the tension of the entire series, and then her coming back in and just crushing this episode, and like really I think her move and the like having her be the one who got shot and having the other characters not even acknowledge McNulty in that meeting with the higher ups of the federal was the definitive shift away from McNulty as being the main character of the show and making it a true ensemble. And so Kima gets all the props in the world for that. My Chardine award goes to Bubbles.
Oh, okay.
You want to talk about impact? Every scene.
Yeah.
Andre Royo is in from now until eternity, honestly. But definitely in this series is fire. And he doesn't have the same weight that an Omar carries with him, where it has to be fire, because he's bringing that along with him. Just from now, I'll point out, Bubbles is on the radar. I have many great things in store for Bubbles as we continue talking, but I will point out how fire he is from this point on.
Yeah, I don't disagree with.
It only goes up.
Yeah, yeah.
It only goes up. But anyways, he's my Chardine for this season.
Yeah, no, I listen. You definitely could go in that direction. You did go in that direction. Andre Royal, throughout the course of the series, was tremendous, and that's it. You know, thinking about before we wrap up, thinking about overall season 1 takes. Obviously, the big one we did the deep dive with the Barksdale family, and your thoughts on the dynamic between Avon and with Avon Stringer. The other main take I thought from this season, watching it again, were the performances. We talk about the writing, forever, and rightfully so. I think it's the most well-written show ever. And they have novelists writing the show. They have real live crime writers. They have a Johnny Cochran dream, O.J. Simpson dream team of writers. Okay, you look at Richard Price and the guy Pelicanis, and along with Simon. So they, the writing is top shelf. We know that, but I just was blown away by the performances this season and how just the acting. We mentioned, but you mentioned Bubbles. We mentioned talk about D'Angelo and just everybody, like everybody was giving top-notch performances. I mean, we named the award after a character who you wouldn't have thought too much of years later. Charlene, that award was named because of that performance she gave in the episode. So it was like these performances, even if a character had a small role or was in only one episode or in 2 episodes, the level of acting was incredible. I mean, it really it jumped out to me this not second viewing, but this, I don't know how many times I've watched this show, but this time viewing it, even more so than it's ever have, because a lot of these performances were what a lot of these performances, there was not, you could just see it in the body language. They didn't have to they wouldn't even have to talk, just their body language. Just you could feel their performances. You could feel in terms of some of these scenes with a lot of these scenes. So that to me, that jumped out to me in this season one. And like I said, it's hard to rank besides season 4 being my personal favorite, I agree with you, it's the greatest season in television history. So it's obviously number one in wire history. I've always had a difficult time ranking the seasons, and maybe I just didn't give season 1 the proper respect that it deserved for whatever reason. It's nothing personal, but as we'll move along, there were some seasons that just stand out. But this was this season was a fire season. It was absolutely a classic season. You can rank it however you want to rank it. But no, this season really, to say it's aged well, would be an absolute understatement. So that's my overall take on season 1.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of that, I mean, like, the way that this season is great is because more Wire came after this. Like if the first season isn't great, because this show is such an experimental show and has so many different things going on, and then let's be real, it's a show that has a majority people of color cast. Yeah. Like, that's big, right? Like, and so it had to be good. It had to be really good.
Yeah.
It had to be really good coming out the gate. But what I really appreciate about this show is its commitment to its patience. Yes. There's a billion different ways a show like this could be bad. So many ways it could be bad. And it's kind of actually incredible that it's good. And then it's mind-blowing and earth-shattering that it's this good and it's off the charts what happens after this season. Like things shouldn't even go in this way. And it only goes in this way with the greatest shows, with the greatest things. But I really, really appreciate this show's patience. Conversely, another show that is considered one of the greatest of all time, like Breaking Bad, right? Like, that first episode is the one where Walter White's running around in his underwear and the cops in the van is just like, what is happening? And that's a great way to intro the show because it locks you in immediately. But The Wire went the complete opposite way and patiently built over time.
Yeah.
Which is phenomenal and probably not the best way to build viewership, but that's what I mean. To put the argument that they're trying to make in their terms with the police, it's, can you do a show really well, really meaningful, really purposeful, and still get people to watch? And they did it. They did it. So that's how good the first season is. Because if that first season isn't as good as it is, there is no more Wire.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, it still was a struggle to make season 2. Like, despite the fact that this was a classic season, they still had to fight. I think they had to fight each year to get a season.
Here's the point. Classic season doesn't mean anything because in the world they're living in, it is about how many people are viewing your show. And so it takes a certain amount of everything. It takes a certain amount of guts. It takes a certain amount of patience, of perseverance, of all these different things. It takes a certain amount of that to be like, nah. Because you show that to anybody, and most people, 99 out of 100 people are going to go, that's not the way to start a series. Or that's not the way to go on a show, to start slow pace. And so for them to obviously get that feedback and to be like, nah, we got to tell the story this way. That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Season 2 up next.
Ziggy.
I can't wait to see.
That's my guy.
Ziggy. Rob loves Ziggy.
I do love Ziggy.
I cannot wait to get.
He's so self-destructive.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I can't wait to get to season 2 because it is a very controversial season, to say the least.
Yeah.
We will
Yeah, and I've been waiting to have this conversation for a while, just to really dive in to the conversation, the setup.
Yeah.
Do you want to let your listeners know what is the controversial piece?
Sure. I mean, with the controversial pieces, it's
because this is going to be the jump off point, like literally.
Yeah. So a couple of things. There are some people who call themselves wireheads who think season two, who hated season two, based on the fact that they went from the street.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I was going to add. Even people who really like the show and enjoy everything about it, over time, don't enjoy season two. And I know plenty of Wire fans who barely watched season two because they did not like the shift from the drugs to where they went. So it's very real. It's very real. Yeah. I have a lot of counters to it because I love.
There are plenty of counters, and we'll discuss that ad nauseum when we get into that. But that is the big that's the big reason why people didn't like.
And I've already said, I've been waiting to get to season two. Like, I'm just going to be flat out honest with you, because I've always said, to me, it's at the time and now, it is the boldest move I've ever seen a show make. Without question. It's the boldest move. Because like we said, they were building something patiently, and then to almost just complete. And I remember at the time and the conversation I had since, it very much felt like they completely shifted to a different thing. That is bold. That's bold. That's bold. So I thought it was bold at the time. I think it's even more bold now. And I have lots of thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, season two is.
I love season two.
Yeah, I love it too. All right, yeah, we'll definitely get more to that. And I'll on the next episode, I will tell the audience my opinion on why season two, why they had to go in that direction. I will give.
And I think what I'll enjoy about this most is that anytime I've had this conversation has been in a certain segmented amount of time, and I've never had the ability to look through it over a series over the time we did with season one. So I'm very excited. It's not that I don't love season one. Of course, season one is fantastic. You've heard me run my mouth about it ad nauseum. I just haven't had the chance to do that type of analysis with season two. So I'm very excited to do that analysis with season two.
Yeah, no.
Very excited to do that.
Definitely looking forward to it. All right, we made it. 13 episodes, one season down.
Season one down.
We will see you next time. As always,
pleasure.
Thanks to Robert Sapp. Enjoy your day, man.
Stay healthy, stay safe.
Yeah, no doubt, no questions. Yeah, stay safe. That is going to wrap it up for this latest edition of the Ril Dil podcast, The Wire Remix. I will have this up before the night is over. Enjoy the rest of your Father's Day. And also check out, I did a podcast on Friday discussing the NBA, Kyrie Irving, J. Cole, No Name, that whole ordeal, and much, much more. So check that out as well. I will see you next time. Me and Rob Sapp will see you next week. God willing, season 2, Ebb Tide. I'm out.